Hi everyone, my name is Jake, and today I'm going to do a continuation of a tutorial that I did previously called Doors, Drawers, and Treasure Chests. I had a request from someone to show how to set up a locking and unlocking game mechanic for these things. So in the description there'll be a link to the completed project from the previous tutorial, as well as the link to the original tutorial as well. So you can either download the project and start from the end of the last tutorial, or you can I would recommend going through the other tutorial completely before doing this one. But anyway, let's get a refresher on what is happening. So we wrote one script which controls the behavior you see in this scene, where we can close and open this drawer, close and open this treasure chest, and close and open this door. So what I'm going to do is explain how we can create a system where you can have any of these things be locked, and then you can pick up an object to then unlock that drawer or door or what have you, or you could say pull a lever which will unlock another thing, or you can have an object which will only be opened by a lever or some other object. So we'll go ahead and get started by first doing the just setting up the lock. So we won't start by actually making it be unlockable, but we'll just go ahead and create a locking system here. So we'll just say is locked, and by default we'll say that it's not. So we'll go down here and we'll say perform action. Let's see, we can wrap all of this stuff here in an if statement. So if it's not locked, we'll do this stuff. So if is not locked, we'll do all of the stuff that opens the object. I'm not going to explain this existing code. If you want to see how that works, go ahead and head over to the other tutorial, and that's the last time I'll mention this. So if you see something that's already written here, you don't understand it, take a look at the description and click the link and have a look at the original tutorial. So anyway, if it's not locked, then it'll open as per usual. Otherwise, for now, we'll just say, let's see here, else. We'll just debug.log a message here, locked. Alright, so if we come back in here and we'll set up a few of our things to be locked or unlocked, just to make sure that this tiny little change we've made made the difference that we were expecting. So let's see, this guy will not be locked. Is locked is not true. So we'll go to this one and we'll say, let's see, he's locked, and let's say the door is also locked. Is locked. Alright, so now we'll hit play and we'll come in here. We should be able to still open and close the drawer with the ball in it as we did before. And as you can see, I'm hitting E here, and in the little console down here we see that it says it's locked. Come over here, we can still open and close the chest, and we hit E here, and we're getting more instances of this locked message. You just can't see it unless I do this. You can see that number going up. So it's saying it's locked. But what I think we might want to do is give some kind of feedback to the user, because they're not going to be able to see this console when they're doing stuff. So we can say we'll create a UI text. Let's find this, and we'll call this notification text. And then we'll say, let's just call this placeholder. And we'll set this to be center aligned. Set the text to be white. And I'll just quickly show you one of these things that I wish I knew about a while ago that I didn't. Just this outline component. You just add that to something and you get a nice outline effect on your text, which is something I didn't know how to do before, and it's super easy, obviously. So, okay. Let's just increase the font size there. And let's go ahead and change the alpha on this to be 0 so that you can't see it. And let's actually move that up just a bit above the hand there. And I'm not going to fiddle with the anchor points. That'll be a different tutorial for explaining how to anchor UI elements. So now what we'll want to do is let's see here. Okay. Let's do this properly, I guess. I was going to do the lazy way, but we'll create another class and we'll call this text animator, I guess is a good name for it. So we'll open this. And it's not going to need, let's do it this way. We'll need to use unityengine.ui so we can access the text class. And we'll say private text, my text. Let's call it notification text. Notification text. And we don't need to serialize that because we'll just set that to its own thing. So we'll say notification text equals get component notification, or sorry, text. So what that's going to do is get that text component here from this text component from this game object, because that's where our script is attached. And let's see here. We'll have a float. We'll say serialized field so we can see it in the Spectre without changing its access level here, or its accessibility. Private, we'll say float, and we'll say visibility time. And let's also say time elapsed. And we'll set visibility time to say 2 seconds and time elapsed to 0 seconds. So this is going to be how long this text is visible for, and this is how long has elapsed since it's become visible. So we'll say if time elapsed is less than or equal to 0, notification text dot, can we do this alpha? No, dot color. Here's what we're going to want to do. We'll say color, so we're creating a new color, equals notification text dot color, because we're doing this just like with a vector 3. You can't directly manipulate the x, y, and z values. You also can't directly manipulate the RGB or A values of a color, so red, green, blue, where it's alpha. So you need to have an intermediate variable to hold those values and then reassign. So we'll say color.a equals 0. So its alpha will be 0 if the time elapsed. Let's see if time elapsed is greater than or equal to visibility time. So if it's been displayed for as long as the visibility time or more, then we will set the alpha to 0. And then we'll say notification text.color equals color to reassign the notification text actual color back with this color value. And so that's good. And we'll say else time elapsed. Let's see. Goes up by time dot delta time. So the amount of time that's passed since the last frame. So that's going to be an accurate second counter for us. Well, let's see here. We'll need a boolean as well. So we'll say private bool visibility toggled equals false. And we'll say if time elapsed is greater than visibility time. We'll say else if visibility toggled, then we'll increase the time elapsed. And we'll say, okay, that's good. So we'll need a, and at this point we'll say visibility equals false. So once it goes above this visibility time, we'll say visibility toggled, and it will no longer increment the time elapsed. And we'll say, we'll need a new method here. We'll say public void show, and we'll say give it a string, and we'll say call it message. So we'll call this show method with the message that we want to show. So we'll say text, or what is it called? Notification text dot text equals message. We'll say time elapsed equals 0. So we'll reset that value, and then we'll say visibility toggled equals true. So let's see here. I think that's all going to work. We don't really have a way to test that yet, so we can set that up fairly quickly though. Let's see. Okay. We will say now private text animator, and start, we'll say text animator equals game, or can we just find object of type, and we'll say text animator. So we'll find that object in our scene. This, you only want to use this really if you've only got one instance of that object in the scene. You could use a singleton if you're familiar with that, but I just don't want to go into covering that in this tutorial. And it used to be that you'd have to say game object dot find, but they've simplified it, so now you can actually just access that method directly, which is kind of nice. So now, if is locked, rather than just debug.logging, we can say text animator dot show, and we can say what we want to show. So what do we want to show? And we could say my message, so that we don't have any value hard coded. And so we can come up here and say, again, serialize field private string my message. Okay, and so we can set up a little bit of stuff to hint at what we're going to do here. So let's go to our chest of drawers once Unity finishes compiling the code here. And let's, oops. So some of them won't need a message, because if they're not locked, they don't really need a message, but we'll go to this drawer and we'll say my message, you need the bronze key to unlock this drawer. And here we can say this door is opened elsewhere. And let's do one more. Let's say we'll duplicate this door, and we'll move it over here. And let's just say this door is unlocked elsewhere. Okay, and I think what we're also going to want to do is just go to this notification text, and let's just make this a little bit bigger so that our text will fit. Let's give it a couple lines maybe. Okay, I don't want it too big, something like this. Let's see how everything looks now. So we'll save everything, hit play. And also there's something else we didn't do in our notification text color. We want to say here color just as we did above equals notification text dot color. So we take the color from the notification text to keep it as it is. And we say color dot a equals 1. And then we say notification text dot color equals color. So this will show our color. And really we could extract these two things into another method and just change what value gets passed in, since they're essentially the same block of code, just different values. Actually, no, let's do that. Right click. And where is it? I know you can do it. Quick actions. Extract method. Let's do it. So it calls new method, and we'll call this toggle visibility. I'll say float. I'll say bool show. And we'll say color.a equals show. So if it's showing, then we'll give it a 1. Otherwise, we'll give it a 0. And we'll say true. So here we want to show it. And here we want to hide it. There we go. Okay, now if we come back here. The noise just scared me. If you guys are listening with headphones, it might have scared you too. But let's see here. So we'll come over here, open and close that as we could before, and now you need the bronze key to unlock this drawer. It stays for 2 seconds, then it disappears. Cool. Let's see, this still opens and closes. What's this say? This door is opened elsewhere. Ooh, ominous. Okay. This door is unlocked elsewhere. Okay. So there's the setup for the 3 different sets of functionality that we're going to have here. We're going to set up a key that you can pick up, which will unlock the drawer. We're going to set up a lever that unlocks one of the doors, and we'll set up a third lever, which opens the door when you activate it. So let's go ahead and start with the pickup. We'll start with the key. So we'll go to the asset store. I've got this free hand-painted keys asset here, which I'm just going to import. There'll be a link to this in the description as well, although you can just search hand-painted keys in the asset store. So we'll go back to the scene. Let's find this this key here. Prefabs, key gold. Let's do this. All right, let's see. Looks a bit big. Let's reset this thing's position here. Yeah, definitely way too big. So let's scale it down maybe, I don't know, 1/10 of its current size. Yeah, even that is quite a large key. So let's say maybe and we'll just move that in front of the camera just to see what that looks like. Yeah, I think that's okay. And we'll just excuse me. We'll just move that over here. We will lower that down to the ground. We'll add a component, and we will add a collider. Actually, let's just see if there's anything on this. No, nothing on this guy. So we'll add a component. Let's just say box collider. Let's see if we can see this collider is tiny. So let's say we'll set the size to 3, no, 10, 10, 10. So that's a decent size. If our player walks over that, he'll definitely pick it up. And let's just change the offset there so it's centered on our cube. Okay, and let's, or not on our cube, on our key. And we'll set our key on the floor. Okay, now we need to say that it's a trigger. And now we can go ahead and add a component, and we'll call this, let's see. we'll just call it pickup. We only have one pickup, so maybe we'll have one script that governs a lot of different pickup behavior. Of course, ours is only going to be unlocking stuff, but let's see here if that's going to load in Visual Studio. So let's see. We will go to, let's do this. Private string my message. Look familiar? Serialized field. Okay. And then on start, do we need to do anything? I don't think so. Don't need any update either. So we can say void on trigger enter. We say collider call. So this is a built-in Unity callback function which happens when basically the physics engine will, whenever a collision happens with this box collider we've set up here, then Unity's physics engine will tell this function to fire. And so the call holds some information about what it was that collided with this box collider. So it's not really a collision, it's a trigger entry because we set it as trigger. But same kind of thing. And so what we'll want to do is say if call dot tag equals player. I think we've got our player set up as the player here. Let's do this. We'll set the tag as player. Make sure you do that, or otherwise this won't work. Then we'll say find object of type, and we'll say text animator. I guess it's not really the best name for that class now that we're not really animating anything. We're just showing it hiding something. And we'll say dot show. We'll say my message. Okay, and the reason I'm doing find object of type here rather than in a start function like we did with the other one is because this is only ever going to be called once when the player actually collides with this, because after that the key's going to be picked up. It's not going to be able to happen anymore, so there's no real benefit to doing it in the start function because we're not going to be making this call over and over again. And then we'll say we'll also do this serialized field, and this is where the unlock mechanic comes in. We'll say serialized field, what's it called? Interactive object, right? My unlockable object. And we will say my unlockable object dot unlock. And then we will go over to the interactive object and let's create an unlock method. So we'll have to make this public, void unlock, and then we'll say is locked equals false. And you know what? Rather than putting this, no, that's fine. We'll leave it as is. Okay, so is locked equals false, and that's literally all you have to do, because now this isn't going to happen anymore. It's going to go into this case where it does the same functionality it had before, where the door just, or whatever it is, just opens. And in our this, you might, play some unlock sound or something else. Same thing with this. Rather than just showing a message, you might want to play a sound of the drawer jiggling or something like that. And rather than calling unlock directly from the pickup, what you might want to do is have some secondary boolean that's like is key held or something like that. And then if the key is held by the player, then when you go up to interact with it the first time, it unlocks it, and the second time it opens it. But just for simplicity's sake, we're just going to open it as soon as we pick this thing up. And then we're going to destroy the game object to which this script is attached, which is the key. So this isn't going to go into an inventory or anything like that. It's just going to unlock that drawer. So the only thing we have to do now is assign the thing that we want our script to unlock. And that's going to be one of these drawers. Here's a drawer 2, drawer 1. Okay, so it's drawer 1. So we'll go to our key gold. We'll take drawer 1. We'll drag it into my unlockable object. My message will say, it seems a drawer can be unlocked. Groovy. Okay. So let's see. There's our key on the ground. Here's our drawer. Come over. Oh, you need the bronze key to unlock this drawer. Alright, well, look, sure, that could be bronze. So, this isn't doing anything. Let's see why not. Let's do our good old debugging steps here. So, void on trigger enter collider call. If call.tag equals player, let's just do this. Debug.log. Hey, let's see if this thing is even firing. Save this player. Let's see here. FPS controller has a character controller. Must have a rigid body. It does. It's got to have a collider. No? Aha. So it has no collider attached. Well, it must have. Let's see here. FPS controller, character controller. Alright, well let's add a, yeah, okay, so it doesn't have a collider, it's got this character controller, which is a little bit different. So we'll add a capsule collider, and we will set its height to be the same as our character controller. Hopefully this doesn't frig with our character controller. We can still walk just fine. Okay, alright. Seems a drawer can be unlocked. Groovy. Alright. So now, look at that. The drawer is now unlocked because we picked up a key. So let's just do that one more time. Come over. You need the bronze key to unlock this drawer. Okay. Let's pick up the bronze key. It seems a drawer can be unlocked. Groovy. Cool. Alright. So now this door is still locked. This door is opened elsewhere. And here is where I think is, I wanted to do this because it's kind of cool. It shows how you can use the assets you've already created, the scripts you've already created to, you know, do new things. So I'm just going to build a little lever here. So I'm just going to make a little cube. I'm just going to shrink this down a little bit here. Something like that. Let's see, how's that look? Sure. Then I'm going to, inside of the cube, create a cylinder. I'm going to shrink this down quite a bit until it has the diameter that I want, which is probably something like that. I'll just bring that over here, bring it down here, and let's make it a bit taller. Let's make this taller. Come on, you. So this is going to be our lever. Let's move this over here, and let's, here's what we're going to do. We're going to create, actually if we child that to the cube, and let's create an empty game object in this cube. Move this up here to the place where the cylinder meets the cube, right in the center of the cylinder, roughly. And then we'll put the cylinder as a child of that, and now when we rotate the parent game object, that kind of moves like you would expect a lever to. So let's go like this. Just call that 45 degrees. And we'll call this lever. And guess what we're going to add to this? Interactive object. We're going to add a collider. What kind do we want? Capsule collider, is that going to do it for us? And we'll... Alright, you know what? No capsule collider. Let's just do a box collider. Box collider. And let's have a look at this thing here. Let's edit the collider. Shrink that in. Not quite that much. That green is awfully hard to see. Okay. We'll shrink this down. Shrink that up. And we will change the center to be there. Alright, cool. Now we will say the open position. Let's see, so we'll say this is currently closed. So the closed position is going to be 4500, because we're looking at our rotation. This is something that's going to rotate. We'll say it's closed currently, it's not locked. Movement type is rotate. It doesn't need a message because it's not going to be locked. So, alright, and the open position I think is going to be negative 45, right? Cool. Alright, and let's see here. Animation time. We'll say it takes 1 second. So we can come over to this. This thing is now interactive. We can click it and that happens. And what we can do now is add a small bit of functionality to our interactive object script. So let's see. Is open. So if is open. And let's see. Now we're going to create an instance of itself, of some of its own class inside of itself here. So we'll say serialized field, and we'll say private interactive object, my unlockable object. We'll save that, and we'll come down here, and what we'll do is say if is open. Then we'll say my unlockable object dot perform action. So it's going to execute all of this code inside of the unlockable object. But first we'll have to say if my unlockable object. So actually no, we can do this here. Let's see. My unlockable object dot perform action. So what this is going to do is going to actually open the door for us, I think. But first, let's say this. My unlockable object dot unlock. And then we can say down here, so if it is open, then we'll unlock it and we'll open it. Otherwise, we will lock it. So this is going to lock it if our interactive object is set to open that other object. But first we'll want to perform the action, and then we'll want to lock it. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that method inside of our interactive object. Say public void lock. Say is locked equals true. We could have just as easily modified this to say toggle locked, or toggle is locked, but we didn't. Okay, and let's see, we need another bool, is open, is locked, and let's say opens unlockable object. So let's see, if opens unlockable object, then we will actually want to put this here. If it opens the unlockable object, then we'll perform the action, which is what's going to actually open it. In every case, we're going to want to unlock it, but we'll only want to open it if we've set that variable to say so. And we'll do this here as well. Okay, and so there's a bit of repeated code here, so that could probably be handled a little more elegantly. Let's do this. We'll extract it. Alright, yeah, we'll do a little bit of cleanup just because I'm going to be nitpicky here. We'll extract the method. We'll call it oops. Rename. We'll call it unlock my, say, toggle my unlockable object. And we'll say is open. And you know what we'll do? We'll get rid of this thing here, and we'll just put it right here. First thing we'll do is toggle my unlockable object. And where is it? And we'll say bool should unlock. We'll say if should unlock we'll unlock it, and then we'll perform the action. You know what? We are actually going to do this. We'll say this: rename toggle is locked. We'll say apply. Come on. Alright, something's freezing up on me here. Alright, I guess it's a sign. Just have to finish this. Oh. Did it come back? There we go, okay. Bool should unlock. Toggle is locked, and we'll say bool new is unlocked. Let's say is unlocked equals new is unlocked, and toggle is locked should unlock. If opens unlockable object, perform action. Let's see. If I have an unlockable object, if I should unlock, then no, we don't even need this if anymore. Okay. If I have an unlockable object, then we'll toggle it with whether or not it should unlock, which is being set to is open. So it'll toggle back and forth each time we hit it. And if it opens the unlockable object, we will perform action, and we'll say and my, let's say, and should unlock. There we go. So if it should unlock, we'll perform the action. Otherwise, we'll just lock it. Okay. So all we should need to do now is set our unlockable object in the inspector here. So if what's going on isn't perfectly clear, you'll have to forgive me because typically I'll do these before I actually record them and test everything and get it all ready, but I just haven't had the time lately to do the proper tutorial Tuesday, and in order to even get this done, I just kind of have to wing it and go with the flow. So here we'll say toggle is unlocked true because we're picking up our key. And this just happened because we added that Boolean parameter to our new method. So it needed that in order to work. So we'll save everything, go back into Unity, let everything load, compile, and run. So fingers crossed. We'll go over to this door. It'll say that it opens elsewhere, implying that maybe there's a lever or something. This door is opened elsewhere. Okay, what's this do? Oh, you know what? Anyone know what we forgot to do? Opens unlockable object is true. My unlockable object has to be assigned. And now if we come on over, this door is opened elsewhere. Okay, well let's see. Still not happening. Aha. Now it should work. Yeah, okay. So we've got a little bit of a flaw in our logic. What's happening is that our, let's see, my unlockable object is being called before we flip the variable. So we'll just do that down here now. So we flipped the variable and now we call it. Because it was in the closed state and it was being called with is open being false, so it was set to not unlock the door. So let's see. This door is opened elsewhere. Okay, let's see here. This door is opened elsewhere. Okay, so let's step through our code and see what's happening here. So, is open. It's not open to begin with. So if we look at our lever, is open is false. So here it gets set to true. We're calling toggle my unlockable object with true. So let's look at toggle my unlockable object. So if it has a my unlockable object, which it does, it'll call toggle is locked with true. If opens unlockable object, which is true, and should unlock, which is also true, we'll say my unlockable object dot perform action. But then we go down to here is locked. This is why, because we're setting is locked to should unlock, and we should be setting it to the opposite of that. So you know what? For simplicity's sake, let's set this to should unlock, and we'll set it to not should unlock. Makes it easier to read. So if it should unlock, then is locked should be false. So that's why we're doing the opposite there. And if that's not true, then it should be locked, so that should be true. So let's try this one more time. See if we got everything set up here. So now we come over. This door is opened elsewhere. And look at that. The lever okay, so there's a bit of a logic flare here still. It'll only do it when that's true. So let's see. If opens unlockable object and should unlock. Let's just do this. My unlockable object dot toggle is locked should unlock. Okay, so So this is a bit unavoidable because of the way things are. So we're always going to want the door to open or close when we hit the lever. And in order for it to do that, it must be unlocked. So we'll say toggle is locked. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to say true. Or we'll say false. No, we'll say true. So should it unlock? And you know, this is terrible. Toggle is locked. We'll just say, yeah, new is locked. This should be called should lock, not should unlock. And this should be called should lock. And this should be called new is locked. So there we go. Okay. And what we're going to want to do, toggle is locked. False. It's not going to want to be locked. Then we would say if opens unlockable object, my unlockable object dot perform action. And then we would say we'll relock it at this point so that you can't then move the door by hand after you pull the lever. So we'll say my unlockable object dot toggle is locked. We'll say yes, we'll lock it again. So we perform the action and then we lock it again. And then we can say, so if it doesn't open it, we'll just, let's see here. So here's what we're going to want to do. If opens it, no. That's what we want to do. Else, we'll just say, that's it. That's all we'll want to do. Okay, so we'll want to relock it after we open it, if we open the door by the lever. Otherwise, we just want to unlock it. So this will all make a little bit more sense here in a minute. So we hit the lever. Door's opened elsewhere. Okay. So we've got our logic flipped again. Toggle is locked. Here we go. That's why. Forgot to get rid of that that not there because we changed the logic how that works. Alright, let's come back over here. Hit our lever. Door opens. Door closes. Door opens and look. Door is opened elsewhere. We could say activated elsewhere so it still makes sense with the closing. So you still can't do it by hand. You can do it by lever. Now let's duplicate this lever. So this whole thing. We'll duplicate this. Let's just Control D to do that. We'll move it over next to this door. And now rather than this lever actually opening the door, it's just going to unlock it. And just by changing that one setting in our inspector here, we should see that it works. So it doesn't open the unlockable door or the unlockable object, it just unlocks it. So that's the difference. Should I open it as well as unlock it or just unlock it? And in this case, we're just going to want to unlock it. So we'll drag this other door into there, and all it's going to do is unlock it. It's not going to open the door for us. It's just going to lock it. So let's go over here. The door is unlocked elsewhere. Okay. And look at that. Now the door's unlocked. And now here's a bit of a flaw that I'm not going to work out. You guys can figure this out if you want. Where if I now move this lever, this door is going to be locked. Or it should be. Look, it's not. So, anyhow, I've already gone over time. But, oh, I just picked up the key. I've already gone over time. This is longer than I wanted it to be and a little bit less structured, but I guess you get to see the creative process of how these things work and how they're figured out, and you know, the constant improvement process of extracting methods and simplifying and making your code more readable. So anyway, we'll go through this one more time, look at everything that we've accomplished. So we've got a drawer which can only be unlocked after picking up a key. Oh, it seems a drawer can be unlocked. Okay, now we can. Now we can't unlock the drawer. So what's happened? A change in our code has caused this to stop working. Go here. Interesting. So, right, here's what happened. Toggle is locked. False. No, we don't want it to be locked. That's what happened. So it's a good thing we went to run through all of our stuff again. Otherwise, we would have missed that. Need a key. Let's get the key. It seems the drawer can be unlocked. There you go. The drawer is now unlocked. This door is opened elsewhere. Oh, let's see. Oh, yes, by this lever. Okay. This door is unlocked elsewhere. So we pull the lever. It doesn't open the door, but it unlocks it for us. So there you go. Now you've got a reusable script that can be used not only to animate levers, doors, drawers, and treasure chests, but you can unlock items. You can open other items. You can pick up keys to unlock things. And as kind of a fun exercise just with using these scripts, see if you can set up some kind of a chain reaction or a door puzzle where maybe you walk through one door which unlocks another door, because remember, interactive objects now have the ability to unlock other interactive objects. So you could create a whole chain of these things. So maybe just as a little exercise to familiarize yourself with these, try making that. And if you do, I'd be kind of interested in seeing it. But anyway, that's it for me signing off. If you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments, and I will read and answer them, try to help as best as I can. I know this wasn't as clear of a tutorial as some of my other ones are, because I kind of had to wing it as I went. If you like this tutorial, you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel, and post a comment about what you want to see. If you're working on a game right now and there's some mechanic that you just can't quite figure out and you want a hand with, or you'd like to see a tutorial for, post it and I'll try to make it, because I always like having these things as exercises, and they're great learning experiences for me as well. Some ideas that I might not have thought of on myself for different things to try to do. So thanks to, I think it was Chris who suggested this idea. I think that was his name. If it wasn't, sorry. But anyhow, hopefully this was of some use to you guys, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Thanks.